Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal, some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said, every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Casey Chesnutt with us today. He is a live music entertainer, recording artist, and songwriter. His influence varies from red dirt, classic country, and rock. Casey follows in the footsteps of his father, country music legend Mark Chesnutt. After serving in the military for 5 years, Casey now makes a living chasing his dream along with his wife and their baby girl, Annie.
And we're excited to have him on. So
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure. You know, last 18, 20 months, 2 years, it's been rough for a lot of people.
It has.
So how has COVID affected what you do, and what have you done to kind of maneuver through this craziness?
So a lot of it was achievable just because, I mean, at the time, weirdly, the only job that was really out there was for musicians. And it was hard in Texas because Texas was closed down, but Louisiana was like a 30-minute drive for me, and everything was open out there. So,
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
you know, and when I tried to come back and be a police officer, the academy just was kind of, they were closing schools down. They were shifting stuff like further to the right on the calendar. It just wasn't, I needed to get paid. So all the venues that I was playing at were in like Lake Charles area, out in the DeRidder area in Western Louisiana. So that's kind of what kept us afloat until Texas started to open back up, really.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I would have thought that Texas would have been open before Louisiana.
Yeah, you would have thought, but
Yeah.
Because you know we're in Georgia, so we pretty much were the guinea pigs. We were the very first state to reopen.
That's right. Yeah.
And
you guys
then,
in Florida were kind of just like, man, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. Our governor even made a mandate to where cities could not override his power.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, the government. I try not to get too political, but the government.
Yeah.
He kind of really put his thumb down on a lot of people's businesses, and I get it. People are getting sick and all, but like at the end of the day, people still have to make a living.
Yeah,
that's true.
It just made it hard for a lot of musicians that didn't have those contacts. Fortunately, I was able to keep working, and I was very fortunate. I had a lot of people that I knew out in that area that were still having live music, and
yeah,
it was like it wasn't like it is now where I could go out and play 4 or 5 shows a week. I mean, it was more like 1 or 2.
Wow.
We were really pension for pennies, but I mean, it was something that just kind of barely kept us afloat,
That's like for us, we launched a show January of 2020, having no idea that 2 months later that all this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And my original plan was maybe 100 interviews our first year, and then COVID happens. And I'm watching everything get shut down. I'm like, I told Sandy, we can't change this, but you know what? People like you are going to need a place to talk, and we're going to give it to them. Yeah. And because of that, we're over 500 interviews now.
That's awesome, man. And people like you guys really kind of keep musicians working. And that's something awesome that we really appreciate about people like you guys. So, I mean, it's awesome that you guys are having me today. And again, I really appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yes,
and
we do.
Also, as you know, this might be a little different answer for you than a lot of people, but a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I always like to go deeper than that. When did it click for you that this could be a career for you?
Man, I just, I made a couple career decisions in my life. I want to join the.
Thank you for serving.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Thank you for your service. Absolutely.
And I wanted to be a police officer and all this stuff. It just kind of seemed like, even when I was in the Marine Corps, man, like when I wasn't out doing stuff at work, if I had a little bit of time off, I was trying to chase down the open mic nights.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of guys that would hire me, to
wow.
play live music. And it just seemed like something I couldn't really, I don't want to say couldn't escape, but I kind of myself all the time, like no matter what. My wife had no idea that this was something that I really, because she met me while I was in the Marine Corps. As far as I knew, I was a normal guy, but I failed to mention to her when we got married that like music is kind of a huge part of my life.
Oh, wow!
Besides what the Marine Corps had taught me to do, and luckily for her, you know, it is getting a little bit easier these days because I'm not, you know, I'm trying to quit doing the 5 to 6 shows a week. She's trying to pursue her own career, and it's kind of something that we're shifting towards. You know, I'm kind of excited about potentially being a stay-at-home dad because I could use, you know, I could use a little bit of, you know, I could use a little bit of time at home myself. I'm always on the road, and she's excited about getting her career started, and I'm super stoked about it too. So, you know, I'm
What's she plan on doing?
Oh, she's getting into real estate, man. She's
awesome.
Only problem is Texas is like trying to get your real estate license in Texas is like trying to become a doctor. Like it's ridiculous. You gotta
Wow.
And so many hours. Like she's got to do 180 hours, I think, of something online, and then of course that's just because everything's still closed out in Houston area. But it's kind of cool because, you know, it takes the weight off of having to, you know, one person having to you know, bring an income, and she's you know, she's pretty excited about it. I'm pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch her do her own thing. So,
and you know, I totally get where you're coming from, that when something's in your blood, because since, you know, we've been doing this show now 2 years, and I keep trying to launch little business ideas away from the show, and I just can't throw my heart into it. And it's like, you know what? We just need to build the show somehow and make it make money.
But we have our side hustle in the evenings that keeps us going
for now, and while we build the show. So as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory in what you do, the glory in what your dad did, and all the big artists, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get there. And I always want to talk about that side of it, because I think a lot of times people kind of jump into this industry and jump into entertainment. They think, well, if you got talent, you can make it. But we both know that that's not true, that it takes a lot more than just talent. It takes a lot of work, a lot of grind, a lot of sacrifice. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the sacrifices and struggles you've had to go through in your career so far?
Man, I can go on for days about that. That's funny you mentioned that, because I get people tell me all the time, man, like, oh, this is a dream job. You know, you gotta plug your job. As much as, you know, as much as I've always wanted to do this, there's for a good portion of my life, I had to go play at like the Mexican restaurant for $50 a night. You know, like I had to go play in the corner of the beer joint until 2 a.m. 5 or 6 nights a week with a wife and a daughter waiting for me at home. You know, I had to, you know, of course with COVID, I had to struggle with that. It's just another thing is people look at the paychecks musicians receive, but they don't look at the amount of money spent on the equipment it takes to get that back. I mean, I've gone and made a couple $100 and turned around and had to, you know, go buy a $300 speaker the next day because of a show. You know, it's stuff like that. The maintenance is kind of, it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. You got to really know who to talk to. You got to be a people person. That was one of the hardest things when I got out of the Marine Corps and tried doing it again. Was I wasn't as much as a people person as I used to be. You know, I was a little bit more brutally honest with people, and had to kind of learn how to, you know, not use so many words that I'm used to using. You know, it just kind of got to where I had to kind of readapt myself to talking to normal people. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of driving. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of times where you can't come home. Like this past week, I've not been making a dime on it, but I've been doing a radio tour trying to push the single because I know that it might be a good investment, you know, and I've had to leave my wife and daughter at home. Of course, my wife had to home by herself for 8 months when I was in the Middle East, but it still sucks because now we have a baby, and it's like 3 days alone with a baby who's super energetic all hours of the day is not always the funnest thing. So one of the biggest sacrifices I've got to say is definitely the family side of it, having to put your wife or your daughter through, you know, when's my husband or my dad coming home, you know, like when am I going to get a break from the baby, you know, like that kind of thing.
Now, do you have an issue where, you know, because I know a lot of people we've brought on who have family members that are like legends, where they have an issue also to where people are trying to compare them to their dad, their mom.
I don't have anything wrong with that. I'm pretty proud to be. A lot of people kind of, I don't know why, man. Some people get really shy about asking me to do my dad's stuff. Even I'm really proud to be, part of that legendary, lineage of music. And
Yeah.
I love my dad's music. I'm proud of everything my dad's done. And I play a lot of his music, man. I love my dad's music. It's kind of expected. People come to my shows, and it's not like, I understand that they don't know me. They know my dad. So they expect me to play my dad's music. And that's perfectly okay. If I went to go see Jesse Whitley, I'd expect a Keith Whitley song,
Right. Exactly.
And I'll try to throw my stuff in there too. I try to give a little bit of everything. I just try to keep the tradition going, and that's a big part of it. I don't have an issue with it. I kind of embrace it because in reality, it's helped me. The name, as much as I've tried to do it on my own, has helped me make it to where I'm at. So
now, do you have some critics where they're like, "Well, you're not Mark," which we both know that, but do you have critics that say that too?
And I got people that say all kinds of stuff. It's really honestly people's opinions or what they form their opinions around my show and whether or not they like it or whether or not they see my dad or they see me. That's up to the listener. And I encourage people to have their own opinions about that kind of thing. I don't want people to just sit there and say, "Oh, he's great because he's Mark's son." I want I want people to say, "Well, hey, look, like this is what we hear in you, and this is what we see you doing." And maybe they don't like it, or maybe they do like it. At the end of the day, I'm just here to put on a show for people who want to have a good time. And whether, it's really up to the listener, what they kind of interpret what I'm doing here. I mean, in my opinion, I'm just trying to make cool music, man.
So tell us about the new single.
So even Texas couldn't hold her. That's something that kind of caught my attention. I had a list. I want to say a list of about 150 songs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if that's a realistic number, but a lot of songs. And my road manager was putting together all this for me, and he said, "Man, you got to listen to a couple of these songs by this guy." And I pulled up some of these songs, and there was a song, Even Texas Couldn't Hold Her. Keith Smith had wrote the song, and immediately I was just grasped by the amount. I love fiddle, I love steel, and just the way he used, the imagery and the visuals and the lyrics, like just the song itself kind of gives you a grasp on how vast Texas is. And it's just like, I'm not, I've been all over the world, man. Like I like Texas and I like a lot of other places, but I love Texas country music. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say Texas is the greatest state in the world. I know some people are diehard, but I've been a lot of places. I will give Texas one thing. The music to me that comes out of Texas is just, it's something that grasps me. And I think that's because I grew up here, but I felt that when I heard that song. I was like, man, this is a Texas country song. So I've got to have it. And sure enough, we cut it, spent some hours in Nashville doing it and put a bunch of other stuff out. But I just think it was the strongest song on the album. It kind of gave a feel for what we're trying to go for.
Exactly. Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the artist, the front man, but they don't see the team behind you. In our opinion, teams never get the love they deserve. On our show, they get some love. So tell us take a few moments and tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
So right now we've got the best thing about my band, and what I'm really trying to quit doing is I'm trying to quit doing the solo gigs and the smaller stuff. And it's nothing. I'm trying to kind of put together a show with the band where I'm doing that more often. But I've got some awesome guys, man. The greatest part about my band is that my road manager put these guys together, and they're all talented in different ways. That's one of the best things about these musicians, and some things that I recommend to anybody trying to put a band together. Is you got to have musicians that can do more than one thing. Got like John Thibodeau is my bass player, and he plays the accordion. He does Cajun music. He sings and plays guitar. Like he does it all. He plays drums. My drummer best drummer I've ever heard. I mean, he's been around doing this for longer than I've been alive. So the guy knows exactly what he's doing. Joel Campbell is awesome at what he does. He runs a lot of behind the scenes stuff with the show too, when it comes to like our tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we got Edwin Worthy, who is on par with Tracy Bird's guitar player, if not better, in my opinion. I mean, Gonzalez is great, but Edwin Worthy, man, I've played with the guy for years. Not, I haven't played with him exclusively, but I've played with him in the past, and it's just awesome to have him come back on the team. There's just I just think we have a good group of guys making a lot of noise, and I think we've got a good thing going for us.
I love that. Speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 10-year-old.
Yes.
We let him come on and ask a few questions. So Sandy's going to go get him.
I'll get
him. And then our almost 3-year-old, when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we are a family affair show. So what's something, while we're waiting on them, what's something crazy that's happened to you on stage?
Oh man, I've had a pretty typical experience so far. So we played at Pine Tree Lodge, where my dad cut his first music video for Too Cold at Home. And he came out that night. It was my album release party, and we had just pushed out the Down Mexico Way album. And it was the little EP that, we were trying to get out there. And people have for years and years and years asked me, when's your dad coming up on stage with you? Like, when you guys got to do something? And that's always cool, but at the end of the day, my dad kind of just wants to hang out and watch me. And I kind of like to just hang out and watch my dad whenever he's playing. We don't kind of want to interfere with anybody's stuff. And that night was just kind of the right atmosphere. I mean, it was the right combination of things going on, the right crowd. And we were about to play Too Cold at Home, and we started off playing it. And, I just see my dad get up and walk towards the stage, and I'm like, here we go. This is gonna be pretty cool. So we sat down. I mean, we stood up there and put on a hell of a show for everybody. We played Too Good at Home and swap pieces. And I mean, the Mike and Sandy Miller ran that event that night, and they loved it, man. They ate it up. They'd always wanted that. So I think that's cool.
That is awesome.
Hi, Casey. So what's your favorite food?
I love Cajun food. Love fried food. It's about anything my wife makes. Big lasagna guy.
Because what do you got?
Mine is pizza.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big pizza fan. I like the buffalo chicken stuff. They still have the
he'd eat it all day long if we gave it to him.
Oh yeah.
I would too if I could eat it all day long, but I can't.
Yeah, my wife's got us doing some challenge where we got to actually eat somewhat healthy. I guess she's sick of watching me eat, double bacon cheeseburgers all day. So.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
Oh man, I love The Office. I've been watching The Office. I mean, my wife hates The Office, but I watch it because I just got tied up with it on one of my deployments and I haven't been able to put it down. But it's not allowed in our household, so I'm not allowed to watch The Office here. So just kind of settle with whatever's on TV, I guess.
What's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Oh man, I'm a 25-year-old man, and I still watch SpongeBob. I still watch SpongeBob since I was like 3 years old, and I'll sit there with my daughter.
Out.
I love SpongeBob.
Are they still making new ones?
Yeah. I don't like the new ones, but the ones I sound like an old man. The ones I grew up on were like, I don't know. I just grasped the humor a little different. I mean, they're just kind of getting a little crazy with some of the stuff they're putting out nowadays. But I really sound like an old man.
Yeah. Joe asked, "What branch were you in?"
I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
I got a lot of those. Anything with Will Smith in it. I'm a big Will Smith fan. Got to be Step Brothers is one of them. I like Will Ferrell a lot, so definitely Step Brothers. Anything that's a hard one. I got a lot of favorite movies. Zach Galifianakis. I'm saying my favorite actors right now, but Basically, any movie with those guys in it, really. I got a lot of favorite movies. I don't really have one specific, but Step Brothers is one of them. I Am Legend is definitely one of them.
That's a good one.
Fatherhood with Kevin Hart was something that hit that kind of hit it home because we just had our daughter, and that's a pretty good movie. So
Yeah, because what's yours?
Mine's Minions movie.
yeah, I love Despicable Me and the Minions.
Yeah.
I love the kind of just witty, goofy cartoons. I'll watch this stuff all day long.
Yeah, I don't know how. I bet the Despicable Me too, because our little one, that's the one she loves the most,
And she wants it on.
and she wants it on all day long. So I bet I could say every line of every character in.
That's how it is with like season 2 and 3 of SpongeBob, man.
Okay, bye. Thanks.
Meet you, little buddy.
Yeah, he loves to be on this show. He's been on 98% of the shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Radney Foster.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of Randy Rogers, Wade Bowen, and I've heard a lot of really good Randy Rogers songs that ended up being songs that Radney Foster wrote, like "Kiss Me in the Dark," stuff like that. Roger Springer, Radney Foster, any of those guys, man, and I really, I'm a big William Clark Green fan too, and he writes a lot of his own stuff. So,
wow. Now this probably has 1,000 answers, but just think of the first thing that pops in your head. But what's the song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
oh man, there's a lot of those. There's so many of those songs. I got to think on that one. One of my favorite songs of all time. There's a couple of those, but man, anything Randy Rogers or Wade Bowen. That is a really hard one.
And I have to ask this one, being that your dad is Mark Chesnutt, what's your favorite song of his?
So I really like anything off of the Too Cold at Home kind of era. Old Country is one of them. Yeah. Really like Brother Jukebox. All the classic bangers.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Thank God for Believers was a really good one that I kind of worked with, trying to play for a while at my shows. Never gets old. I'll think of something that's a pretty cool tune. Hank Jr. also cut it, and I just really
yeah.
The way he incorporates the use of all of his instruments in that one is just really cool. So,
so where do you want to be in 5 years compared to where you are now?
I definitely want to be making the same amount of money and playing a lot less. I'm getting, it gets feeling too much like a job sometimes, this whole 5 to 6 nights a week thing. I want to get to where I can do it 2 or 3 days out of the week. And that basically is it. I just want to kind of be able to support myself on doing it enough to where I don't get tired of it and still enjoy it. I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy it now, but by Saturday and Sunday, my fingers are getting a little sore and my voice is getting a little harsh.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So Joe asked, have you ever met Joey Chestnut?
I've been asked that a numerous amount of times there. I knew who Joey Chestnut was until I've been asked if I was related to Joey.
Oh wow!
And as a follow-up, what's about hot dogs you've ever
eaten at one time? Yep.
I haven't eaten a lot of hot dogs, but I'm a big corn dog guy. I like corn dogs. Like I can go through a whole box of corn dogs.
Yeah. What are some sources of inspiration for you?
Anybody in the Texas country music scene, really. Basically, anybody that's writing their own songs and making it on their own. William Clark Green is definitely one of them. Wade Bowen. That's another one I can go on for days about. Looking at Tyler Childers now, he's kind of breaking into the red scene.
Oh yeah,
like that. But especially Cross Canadian Ragweed, Cody Canada was kind of doing his own thing, and he put together something really cool, a really cool project with Cross Canadian Ragweed, and then we had the Turnpike Troubadours for a while. Just basically guys that write their own songs, make big hits out of them, and they don't really have to push them; they just naturally happen. And that's with a lot of those guys, you know.
And what would you like for your legacy to be in the music industry? What would you like to be known and remembered for?
I just want to try to, I'm working on my songwriting. I just want to try to put out good music. I just want stuff out there that people get this. You know, I want people to feel about my music what I feel when I listen to people like Randy Rogers and you know, Giovanni and the Hired Guns and Stoney LaRue. Like, I want people to kind of get that feeling, and that's something that's not just going to happen. It just, there's a lot of work that goes into songwriting and a lot of experiences in life and a lot of lessons learned. So it's something that's going to slowly come with time.
So Joe asked, did you ever have a Texas accent or did you lose it in active duty?
That's funny. So when I was throughout my life, when I grew up in Southeast Texas, I never noticed I had an accent, or I mean, I guess it was really bad back then, but you know, anybody before they go out in the world and talk to a bunch of other people. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was around so many different people, and I realized really quickly that if I wanted to, you know, be successful, people kind of had to understand what I was talking about. And through my career in the Marine Corps, I just kind of was put in a bunch of situations, a bunch of professional situations, and a bunch of you know, influences from other people I met from all over the country and world. I just learned that I had to kind of speak a little clearer, and when I was put in leadership positions, I just kind of had to not come off like I'm from Southeast Texas, I guess. I know that sounds bad, but you know, I just had to kind of, it just kind of, the influences and the settings I was placed into, I just kind of learned, I guess, make myself more bland. I don't know if that makes sense. And
it does.
The military sense, you know, you really kind of had to, you really kind of had to learn how to, you know, get your word across the table with everybody. And I guess I just kind of lost touch with that part of, you know, speaking. I guess I don't know how to really put that into words, but I know sometimes I look at videos from back when I was like 15 and 16, and I'm like, man, like, oh man, that's bad. Wow. I barely understand myself now, you know. But,
so what's next for you?
More radio tours, more shows, full band wise, and we're going to start pushing back out on the road. I think tomorrow is when we're actually headed back out. I'm taking them out.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to have my parents watch their granddaughter, who is, you know, going to keep them awake for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy the night's sleep. But we're going back out on the road. Probably going to, I haven't looked at the calendar, but Mike McCary, who's now my manager and booking agent, he works with DreamWorks Entertainment, and he's worked with my dad for 17 years. Pretty big name in the business, and he's setting up a lot of my stuff. So I think we're going to be going up towards Central Texas, West Texas, North Texas. That's what we did all last week. Was we just hit up every radio station we could in Central Texas and Northwestern area. So I mean, it really is just going to be a whole lot of driving and trying to push the single. And then I think rather sooner than later, we're going to be pushing out an album with stuff that I've written, stuff that I've actually put together. And my wife's a songwriter as well. So
awesome.
That does too.
So she can be the real estate singer or songwriter.
Yeah. So we're I'm going to go help her sell houses, and she'll help me sell music. So
there you go.
Awesome.
Team like we are.
Yep. Team.
So if you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing and they have something special, as Simon Cowell would say, they have that it factor. They've played maybe a few shows. They're still getting their feet wet on the performance side, but they know that this is what they're called to do. It's in their blood. It's in their heart. What advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
Man, you got to really, I don't know how to really put this into words, but you can't let yourself get stuck. And it's not something that I'm saying I did. I just, I didn't do it for too long, but you can't let yourself get stuck. Like you know your value, you know that people really enjoy listening to you. You get a good reaction every time you play. You've never had a gig not call you back. Those are all indicators that you need to talk to somebody. You need to reach out and find someone that, that'll work for you. And whether that's a local, booking agent or, and usually they'll get you where you need to go comfortably, but somebody down the road, if you're doing that kind of thing and you're getting that kind of reaction, somebody down the road is going to contact you and you need to pick up the phone. If you get an opportunity and you're going to get them, especially if you're pretty good, someone's going to call you and you need to pick up the phone. You need to take every opportunity that you can get. Just don't be afraid to work with different people and chase different leads and chase different opportunities, because some of those opportunities and leads may take you up to the next level. And that's kind of what I'm seeing right now is I was with a great booking agent for years and she did awesome things for me. And it just came down to it. One of my dad's people reached out to me and they wanted to work with me. And now DreamWorks Entertainment is kind of managing me and booking me. And Mike's a great guy, and he's kind of setting us up for success now. I mean, he's got promoters, pushing in the singles. So it like I said, just answer the phone and take the opportunities when you get them.
It's kind of like the new Cody Johnson song where you're chasing a dream.
Yeah. Oh, until you can't.
Yeah, until you can't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah.
So tell everybody how they can find you.
I got stuff all over the place, man. I've got Pandora for people who are like me, who are cost conscientious. I listen exclusively to Pandora just because I don't like paying for streaming services, which is bad because I really want people to pay for mine, but Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, iTunes. We're on a lot of major FM radio stations right now pushing our single too. So we post everything on our Facebook page. We have a website, CaseyChesnutt.com. People have been bugging us about hats and koozies. We finally got some hats and koozies, and so for anybody that's looking to keep their beer cold, or we just had a lot of feedback about the hats and koozies. We were selling shirts and CDs for a while, but people were like, man, we want a hat and koozie. So finally got those in stock for everybody asking about that, and we do have a website where we post a lot of our upcoming shows, a lot of our news, and what we're doing. And I'm pretty sure once this next album comes out, we're going to have that on there too. So just be on the lookout for that.
Love that. We really enjoyed having you today, and we look forward to having you back down the road for updates.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys again for having me. It was awesome talking to you guys.
It was great here too.
Same here. We enjoyed it. Thanks.
You have a great day.